Okay, but Shree,
Yes.
how are you feeling today?
It's a good day. It's a very good day.
It's a good day. It's a very good day.
started it.
Huh?
I thought we already started it.
How are you feeling today? That's the question.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
You need a natural start, I guess.
Yeah.
Good day. Good day so far.
Good day so far.
Nice to see some faces which I have not seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's been a minute.
Yes.
Are you enjoying your tea?
Tea is great. The tea is great. Yeah.
This is great. The sugar is.
It's all right. Actually,
yes.
yeah.
I think they could have put a little less sugar.
To everyone, we're not being sponsored by the company. But if you would like to help us reach out to them, please tag us, and help us get a sponsor.
Yeah, that was a good move.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plug without being a plugger. Yeah.
Just honest cry for help. So, Shree, you grew up in Dubai all your life, right?
Yeah. So I was brought here when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. People get a laugh whenever I say that because it's like I had no choice in that, and it's like I know I didn't have any choice in it.
You just brought in
My parents. I was born in Thrissur in Kerala.
Okay.
And my mom had decided at that time. Actually, she'd said that I'm never coming back to Dubai. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think family situation, need for money, etc. We ended up moving here, and then since I was 2 years old, I've been here. Yeah.
And like your family has been in Dubai before, like they have experienced the Dubai lifestyle before, or was it the first time for them?
So my dad moved here when he was maybe 27 or something like that.
Okay.
So like 45 years ago.
Okay.
My mom moved here right after she got married to him.
Okay.
And she was here for about 4 years until she got pregnant with me. And then for the delivery and stuff, she moved back. And that was the time she was like, I'm never coming back here. It's too complicated, it's too tough here.
Yeah.
She stayed there for 2 years and then she came back, and then we've been here ever since.
Right. So for them it was a normal thing. You didn't even realize that you were coming to Dubai. Like for you it was...
Yeah, for me this has always been normal.
This has always been normal.
Yeah. This is home now, basically, right?
It's a very complicated thing, home, because as you know, most people who grow up here, we grow up here, and at the age of 18 they tell you that you need to have a visa now to stay here. You're not allowed, or you need to be employed, sorry, to stay here. So it's very difficult for me to say this is home, because I feel like if it's home, you should be able to come back anytime without any problems. I know there are options available to people now, a lot more than there was before. But I can't say that Kerala is home either. So it's home is a complicated question.
I think this is the issue with all of us, people, especially these people living abroad, right? We have so many places which we could call home, but also the sense of belonging is not there. And I think that's always an issue where you feel like, okay, where do I actually belong? And that's the part where you can identify who you are.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think Vishall went through that phase when he moved here in Dubai.
I did for a couple of months though, but then actually when I was staying in that part of the city in Marina, mostly foreign, I want to have that foreign experience, right? So that was my first, I would say...
So you decided to come to a country that is 50% Indian?
I didn't decide though. I didn't decide though. I just got an opportunity.
You just wanted to get out of the 100%?
No, I shifted to Marina because everyone was like, you know what, Marina is more of you'll find Europeans and all of that. So it's like, okay, let's go to Marina side, let's experience that. But then you realize that, if you're not around your own people, you feel a little bit of emptiness, right? And then as soon as I moved to Silicon, which was very, very good for me, I would say, it was a good experience. Hazi was there, you were there, everyone was there, and I was like, man, now I feel a little bit comfortable moving back to Silicon. So I guess that way, for me, it was It was an experience.
It's interesting because I moved to the UK for a year.
Yeah.
When I was doing my master's degree, and I had a similar experience as you. Like when I went there, I was like, you know, I'm not gonna make friends with Indians. I'm gonna try and find like non-Indians. I wanted to like explore other cultures, learn about people. It's always been a big people have been very interesting to me always.
Yes.
Always have like different stories to tell, all of that. But what do you find as you go to other places and then spend time with those kind of people? You always do kind of want to have some experiences which are shared experiences, or you want to be able to go back to some people that know the things which you're talking about. Everything can't be brand new all of the time. You want a little bit of like comfort zones. And like maybe the people that I'd chosen at that time weren't the best. And then I actually made friends with a whole bunch of Indian people that also did not turn out very well. Quite toxic crowd of people. But then I sort of found like a friend group that's still like one of my best friends today. So I completely understand what you're saying. You know.
So like growing up, you know, you studied in the UK, you studied here, like high school, and then in Pune. Which was the best place where you studied? Like, which you like, you know what, I enjoy here.
It's very, so I don't really have university experience here in Dubai. And I only have second-hand information from what people have told me. I think you studied here in Dubai, right? Yeah. So you probably know better. Most people who studied here don't have a great opinion of Dubai, unfortunately. I don't know if that's changing. I think people who studied at maybe AUS or something, maybe they have a better opinion of the universities, but definitely the Indian ones or like Harriet Road or something, nobody has very good things to say about. Pune was a bit of a culture shock for me, mostly because I went to Symbiosis, which is like famous for having NRIs there, but I didn't go to the NRI heavy part of Symbiosis. I went to the very like local heavy part of Symbiosis. Initially when I went to Pune, I was like, I want to study computers and I want to study business. That's what I was good at when I was in school, and I want to, you know, go and continue studying that. People who came over there weren't always coming there to study those two things. They were coming there because it's the only university that they ended up in, or like they wanted to go study in a place that's outside of their state. So that way, like a lot of motivations for why they came to study there differed. And for me, the culture shock kind of came from, you know, so like when you grow up here, you're obviously growing up with a lot more progressive people. I would say, or like it's different when you're growing up with all of these. Even if you're from India and you have like all of these like different states in India. When you grow up in Dubai, you grow up exposed to people from every single state, and your mindset also sort of
like a mixed mindset from different cultures and different
and you grow up more open-minded because you are exposed to all those different kinds of people. Most of the people that were coming to Pune, it was the first time that they had actually left their state. But even if they're
coming from across India as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like, you know, it's not the same level of exposure that they get in those states in India.
Yes.
I think it's a little better in South India because we have a lot more people coming from outside, or like Bangalore, Hyderabad and stuff. They have like IT crowd and stuff now, so you know, slightly more varied opinions exist. But like north, like Bihar and like and all these places. I'm not like dissing Bihar.
No.
But
I mean, completely understand.
It's just they just haven't received that exposure yet.
Yes.
And a lot of them, I could see the mindset shift through time, but obviously when you meet them for the first time, it's a culture shock for you, and you sort of realize sort of organically that, you know, you also have to help them and they will also help you grow a little bit. But I feel like I went on a whole tangent there.
No, it's completely fine,
but I mean, but so in that way, I think the place where I enjoyed the most it was the UK. When I started in Leeds. Because first of all, it was a lot more challenging for me academically. Unfortunately, I didn't really find a huge challenge in Pune when I was studying. Most of the stuff was fairly basic. It was a continuation of our school system, and our school system was just, here's a textbook, here's 500 pages.
Yeah, and your school system was CBSE.
CBSE, exactly.
Yeah, right. So it becomes easy for us to get aligned with the Indian education.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, it's the same thing, like 500 pages. You have to make sure that you remember every single word in those 500 pages. We're going to ask you 100 of those pages in the exam.
Right.
Vomit the exam paper, go home, and you're done. Yeah. And it was the same thing that sort of like followed through to Symbiosis. But when I went to the UK, when I went to London, the shift was a lot more about analysis. They would give us like cases. They would ask us to, write essays, sussing out the specific details that they want you to suss out. And first couple of times I thought I did a good job. But when the paper came back, I didn't for the first time in my life. I was not as
smart or
not smart, but it did not reflect the
whatever you knew and studied. And
exactly. But then what was great was they would give us good feedback, and they'd say this places where you've not shown enough, and that helped me. And by the end, I was studying at that level.
Was that professor specific, or everyone was giving you the feedback?
No, it was everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the professors were encouraged to make sure that they are developing their students as well. And that's the other thing, right? In India, I feel like there is this unnecessary sense of hierarchy that is established within the organizations. That might be at the workplace as well as in universities. You have to call everybody sir. You have to call. You have to stand up whenever they come to class. You can't be friends with them. You can't go and drink with them or something. But that's not the case in the UK.
Right.
You're encouraged to use their first names. You're encouraged to go and socialize with them. We had events where a ball and Christmas party and stuff. They would also be drinking. But the flip side of that is they were also getting inappropriate with their with my peers. So pluses and minuses. But what it does is it encourages you to consider them more as a peer. And that's how they treat you as well. They don't treat you as just students, they treat you as co-learners almost. And that was and only because of that. And plus, so when I went to university, 50% of my class was Chinese.
Okay.
I'm not joking, 50% of my class.
Was that a different culture shock?
It was a massive culture shock. Yeah. I don't know. So where did you go to school, Jam, in university?
I joined in 2014.
No, which university did you go to?
Haridwar University.
Haridwar.
Yeah.
Did you have an English language test to enter? No, they didn't ask you for anything.
They see your O-level or GCSE grades.
Okay.
Yeah, and if not, then they will want you to do an IELTS test or TOEFL.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is a CBSE exclusive thing, but obviously, people who are coming from India, they will ask you to do an IELTS test.
IELTS test,
IELTS or there's another TOEFL.
No, but if you're going to UK, right?
Yeah, it
for
is
that.
IELTS,
so if you are from the Indian curriculum, you have to give the IELTS test.
I think it's a requirement in universities in US, Canada, UK, because even when I'm looking at masters in Canada, they want me to give an IELTS.
Yeah.
Over here, the reason I did it because you're coming from a British education, because I did Cambridge exams. So they were you don't have to do an IELTS. But if you are doing, especially in the UK, UAE and Saudi, they don't care. They're you know what, if you have done English before in your school, that's fine, depending on the grades. So, but in the UK, US and Canada, they're heavily required. Because I also seen from our friends or cousins that a lot of people, their English isn't that strong.
Yeah.
So when they come, there's a lot of issues.
So that's exactly what I was saying. Yeah. So obviously we had to go through this whole IELTS thing. And IELTS is, okay, so I've studied English obviously for 12 years of my life.
Yeah.
14 years of my life up until that point. English till date is my first language and I'm thinking in English.
Exactly.
It's not English is a foreign language to me. And for me also, I would see that IELTS test, I could, as I was giving it, I understood how it can be difficult for someone who is not a native speaker. It's a pretty complicated language. Like the rules and stuff are quite complex. But I would go there and I'd meet these like Chinese students. Some of them are great. Like I'm not going to say that everybody is exactly the same, but the majority of them, their English is not strong. They're definitely, their speaking is not strong. Their writing is important. Like I can't. Many times I would receive, and they would force us into like group projects. In the first semester, groups were assigned by the universities, and obviously like because of the 50% population of Chinese students, I'm not even joking. It is actually 50%, and it's the case in universities till date. Like master's programs, British students generally don't get masters. They'll take a bachelor's degree and they'll just start working. Even if they do, they'll do it at much later stage in their careers, like maybe in their like 30s or something. They'll go back into a master's degree. It's Indians and like Chinese people essentially who are getting a fairly decent education back home, who want to step up or who can afford to take that step up, who are coming and getting those master's degrees. So we had a decent population of Indians, but nothing compared to the number of Chinese people that was in class.
And was it a fixed thing like that 50% of seats is for...
Oh no, it's not a reservation.
It's not a reservation. Okay.
It's just... I think it's just a way for the universities to make money.
Okay.
Because there's just so many Chinese people that are applying. And Chinese people, at least at that time, they had a lot of money to spare. And so they would end up encouraging all of them to come. And so we'd all be paired up in these groups, which were university assigned. And I mean, like I'm not going to say that everybody I had a problem with. Like a couple of them were really nice. They were quite hardworking. You know, I mean, language is something which you can grow to be better at over time. So I was more than happy to encourage them to like get their language better. But some people just struggled a lot, and you know, many of them we know for a fact that they were paying for their assignments to be done for them.
Okay.
And because there's no way that like
I get you.
if you speak to them and like the quality that they're coming out, it just doesn't match.
Right.
Have you faced that communication barrier like in the UAE? Because a lot of people have that thing like, who haven't been to the UAE, like, it's an Arabic speaking country. How will we adjust here? How will we move? Like, have you faced that? What you face with like with people in Chinese?
No, never. I think what you'll find in UAE, it's a little bit easier for you if you speak Hindi or Malayalam even easier if you speak. So both are languages which I speak. So, I mean, you are mostly exposed to non-English speaking people when you are taking a cab or like speaking to a delivery rider or something like that. But in my professional life at work, when I'm dealing with Arabs, for example, it's very rarely that I ever feel the need to learn Arabic. Which is also the case. Like you grow up here, and I was obviously taught Arabic for 10 years. But I don't speak a word of the language, which is just so hard.
But do you understand?
I can read it.
You can read it. But if somebody speaks, you can't like understand.
Not a clue.
Wow. Okay.
And I think that's the experience for most people who study here.
Right.
Because when they're teaching you in school, they're only teaching you so that you pass. And it's the exact same curriculum over 2 years. It's the exact same textbook. So you just it's sort of like drawing class more than actual language class. Because you're just sort of like learning the calligraphy. You're going there, you see the question, and you can read the question. So and then you just make the calligraphy come back and you pass.
Right.
But no, in terms of my professional life, in my current role, I deal with a lot of government or semi-government companies. Mostly Emiratis or Saudi people, things like that. Even in my previous company, we had a lot of Arabs. I never felt the need for Arabic or never felt the need to learn the language. English, if your English is good, you're more than likely to survive here.
But do you think that knowing Arabic, even though you're not an Arabic speaker, you're not a native, but knowing Arabic can give you an upper hand in terms of jobs or career or whatever in this region specifically for non-Arabic speakers?
I think it's definitely a plus.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of organizations will be a lot happier to know that you have an Arabic speaking background. So I'll give you the example of my own company, right? Like, so a lot of the work that we do, we're obviously doing in English. We write a lot, we make a lot of like design documents and things like that. Once in a while, we'll get a requirement from someone that, mostly from like Saudi companies or people who have non-professional, so like blue collar workers, things like that, where the expectation is that they speak one language, which is either Hindi or something or Arabic. If it's in Saudi, the expectation is that they're speaking Arabic.
Yeah.
And it's completely fair. We should be speaking in languages which is best. So for background, my organization does employee experiences, and we work on improving everything from the way that organizations communicate with their employees to how the culture and the employees experience in an organization feels like for that employee. We usually work with like larger organizations because that's really the only people that need us. Because as you start scaling, these problems become more and more prevalent. You need like formalization of those things. And in those kind of in my organization, when we have those specific requirements, I know. So I'll give an example. We made this video for a company recently, which was like their strategy mapped into we call it a visual strategy map, which is a pictorial representation of the strategy of the organization for the next 5 years. It's a nice like reference point for employees of the company, and they'll see like where they're going. They took a big cut out of it and placed it in their lobby. So it's a nice like celebration of what the company feels like it's going to achieve in the next 5 years. And this was animated into a video so that people understand, like, because it's quite a complicated map.
Yes.
There's like different aspects of it, so you need like a way to be guided through that map. And that was made into Arabic. It was made into an animation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we laid subtitles on it.
Okay.
But once we got the subtitles, so I don't speak Arabic. My boss, who's from South Africa, she doesn't speak Arabic as well. And we're dependent on our junior account manager, who was from Lebanon, to speak Arabic.
Yeah.
And so in that situation, it would be quite beneficial for me because I'll be able to review the subtitles. I'll know whether there's like grammatical mistakes, whether there's like punctuation errors or something which has happened. So I think definitely there is it again depends on which kind of industry you're in. So if you're in like accounts, for example, like why do you need Arabic? But if you're in a marketing industry,
then I think Arabic makes sense. If you're an account manager, sales,
exactly,
something like that. Yeah,
it's a plus.
It's a plus.
Again, it's not necessary. It's nowhere near necessary. You can always, as long as you have an organization that's willing to invest in colleagues who have those skills, it's fine.
Yeah.
But for yourself, if you're asking me, like I'm in marketing, I'm a 20-year-old, should I invest time in learning Arabic? I'd say if you have time, why not? It's a beautiful language.
Yeah.
Like learning a language is not just about whether you'll be able to use it or not.
Yes.
It's also quite good for your brain as an activity. So go for it.
I think that's the beauty of UAE as well.
Yeah.
Because UAE, you don't have to, because of so much of diverse, the population is so diverse, you don't have to learn Arabic. You can communicate in English as well, but whereas when it's compared to other countries like Germany or France, you have to have that native language, like you need to learn that language, right? So it's completely different that way.
I mean, I have a funny story. So like during university, looking for internships and stuff. So I got a call from this multinational company, and it was for a finance intern position. And this was when tax was being implemented in Saudi and UAE. So I go to the job. Like they ask me, "Oh, do you know about this tax?" All the tax related questions. And they saw my CV, they're like, oh, do you know Arabic? I was like, yeah, I can speak. You know, I mean, I can speak here and there, but like not.
Yeah,
not
you grew up in Saudi, right? So
yeah, I grew up in Saudi,
is
so
much better than
yeah. So I was like, okay, I got the internship, and now my first day I'm there, and they're like calling me for like giant samosas in the pantry, and we have a CFO from US also visiting, and then she was like, oh, why do you think they hired you? And like she's asking this like normal general questions. And then my manager goes like, oh, because he knows Arabic and we need someone, you know, to deal with the Saudi region. And I'm just like, this was not part of the job description.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting these tasks, but they give me like actual tax certificate and they're like, hey, can you translate what you're saying? Because my whole team was Indian. So now I'm there looking at it, I'm like I can speak like normal conversational Arabic, but not like financial terms. So I think this is the biggest bluff I ever pulled. I was like, oh, I need to use Google Translate because I speak Saudi Arabic, not Emirati Arabic. And they fell for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I know how to type Arabic, and so I'm pretty fast at it. I quickly do it. And then I was like, okay, you know, this is what it says, and thank God you used to be correct. And then a few weeks later, they hired another intern. She was local. And I was like, okay, you know, my job is easier now. Then one day I'm just looking at her, and I'm like, she's using Google Translate. And I'm like, why? She's like, because this is, it's not, I don't know financial Arabic. And I was like, what's the difference between you and I here?
Yeah.
And then I told that to my supervisor later. I'm like, listen, like, you know, she and I are basically the same thing, so what was the point of hiring her? She was like, what, she's using Google Translate? I was like, maybe. They're like, you know what, it doesn't matter.
It cost somebody their job.
In my defense...
No, but what's financial Arabic?
There were a lot of like financial terms which we don't study in school. So like even like Arabic being taught, like you have to go to proper Arabic language university.
Okay.
Teach everything in Arabic. Because they're like financial statements or stuff like that, like very general terms. So you don't know which ones are what. Like even for tax, you're not going to study what those tax or what will be that.
Oh, right. It's same like Hindi. Like if you go to a Hindi medium school, you will have those technical...
It's the same with English as well, right? Like most people will not know the word depreciation, for example.
Exactly. I agree, yeah.
Like a port worker, like who's carrying stuff all day, they don't need to know what depreciation means.
Right.
So it's like levels. But actually, they might know the word depreciation in Hindi because if they were taught in a Hindi medium school, they might have had that exposure to that word. Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay, so Shree, tell us this. Why did you choose IT?
At the time?
At that time.
So, I mean, growing up, and even till today, actually, I have loved solving problems. Like, my favorite thing to do is when somebody comes to me, they're like, Shree, I have this issue that I want to deal with. Like, how do you suggest that I deal with it?
Yeah.
But and if it's like mostly not like emotional like trauma that they're facing, like that's harder. Of course, I'll help them through it, but like something specific, like I have this Excel issue, or I don't know, like my computer's not working and not doing this thing. And it's the same thing with like IT. You have a defined question. And you know that there is an answer.
Yeah.
There is definitely going to be an answer at the end. It's not, there might be a solution, there may be like something, but with IT, you know for sure going in that you have your box and you know every single thing that's possible within the box. It's just your imagination that is limiting how big that box is. So then that box keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time. Now with like AI and things, you have your box is like massive now. And at that time, I enjoyed working on programming challenges. I enjoyed sitting down. There would be like a small thing. I'd spent like days on it, and it was a special rush when it clicks, and then you just sort of go and implement it, and everything works. It's all nice. It's all great. Fantastic. I wanted to experience that more and more, so I went and I studied IT for 3 years. At the end of it though, what happened was I was looking at like the career opportunities for me. I don't know if I had the persistence to be a coder full time. I enjoy working with people. And you know, as a coder, you don't really get a lot of opportunities to have conversations with people, things like that. The other opportunity that was available to me was to be a business analyst. And I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna die. I can't do this. And while I was there, I was involved in like a lot of college festivals and things like that. I was always doing marketing for them. And I was like, actually, you know what? Advertising is kind of cool. For me, when I'm studying something, over time I've realized it's most beneficial for me when it's a little tough and it's not something I'm naturally good at. It's just gonna sound like a humble brag, but like when I went to programming, I was like fairly good at it already. Like, you know, it was easy for me to figure shit out. I just needed to like look at the stuff. I didn't know instinctively where to look for answers, and then I can go and figure those things out. But then I kind of got bored by doing that, like in that process. And it's not like coding is entirely figured out for me. There's like a lot more avenues I could have gone down, which would have gotten a lot more complex. But those are not questions I was particularly interested in answering. There are other people who have a lot of fascination in answering those questions, and I encourage those people to go answer those questions. We need those questions answered. But me, I wanted to understand more about people. I wanted to work with people, and I thought advertising is kind of cool. And I went and I applied for ad school in Leeds, got in, and then the journey sort of continued from there.
You went out?
No, before your IT even, so you went to you basically did your engineering.
I didn't do engineering. I did a business and IT degree, so it was a BBA in IT.
Ah, okay. And you went to India.
Yeah.
Right, but your school education was
in Dubai. Yeah.
So you gave an entrance test, or how did you get into
Pune
services?
So, you know, NRI, you just apply through NRI quota.
Right, okay. And they just look at your grades and based on that they give you that. Right.
It's fairly easy. I mean, again, it depends on like what kind of university you want to go to. Or how much fees you want to pay.
Right.
Obviously, if you go through NRI quota, your fees is going to be naturally higher than person who's coming through regular methods. But then the advantage is you don't need to sit through this entrance drama, which I see like all of my cousins now, like literally, I think I'm probably one of the only people in my generation, in my family, that has not done engineering or medicine. I had no interest. I was like, no way I'm doing engineering, no way I'm doing medicine. I don't have the patience to go to 500 tuition classes every single week. I don't want to study science in 11th and 12th. I want to study commerce. I'll do what I want to do, and then, you know, like I'll go to business. I'm happy. Fine.
So, like, because you're on this topic of IT, do you think AI is something that's going to replace humans in the workplace, or? I know you would have a good insight on this. You must have done your research.
I mean, I've been thinking about this myself a lot. I don't think that... I mean, I've seen how good AI is right now. And I'll be honest, like, we use AI in our workplace as well to like support our activities, you know, like support our content writing and things like that.
ChatGPT.
I'm not going to name names. None of these... platforms need free publicity anymore. But I've seen though, like what the quality is that is coming out of it. You know, so far, I haven't seen anything with high enough quality that is going to replace people. And most people that work on these platforms, they know that it will give you good results in the beginning, but as you continue working with it, as your questions become more and more complex, the answers become more and more lacking. But that just might be a question of time. You know,
right.
It'll just be once we have enough data that is being fed in, we correct the course of the systems enough, it will start delivering us results which is better and better and better. That's just technology. But the question of whether it's going to replace people, I don't think it's going to replace people. I heard somebody talk about this the other day that, you know, like it's not that AI is going to replace people, it's just that people who are using AI is probably going to replace people. You are more likely to have... It's a tool like anything else, you know. So in the 90s, if you're going into the workplace, if you are someone who understands Excel and who has Excel skills, you're obviously a bit higher rated than somebody who doesn't have it. And it's the exact same thing. So if you go out there and you understand what the system is, what the current limitations are, what the future limitations will be, and equip yourself to use it, I think you will have a better chance of succeeding in future workplaces. But I don't think that it's going to like outright replace people. It'll just make work a little bit more efficient. And I mean, ultimately, the kind of world that I'd like to live in is where you sort of let AI or like let the robots do all the work, and then we're just chilling and like reading all day, and you just sort of get paid for existing.
Yeah.
If we can get to that point, fantastic. If I don't have to work another day.
Yeah. But we all know that's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah. It's very tough.
It's impossible.
It's very tough,
Yeah.
Do you think AI is gonna replace you in your job?
I don't think so. It's going to replace a lot of areas in the job. For example, digital marketing in specific has various, I would say, specific areas. For example, analytics, right? And we all know about this whole predictive analysis and all of that, which we do manually. We put it into the system and then it gives a prediction of what's going to happen. It's very code based, right? And I think it will become more automated in future, where you just open and that's what we are seeing also, like with GA4 coming into place. Like, you see such kind of data here and there, data points, but it's still very limited. So it's going to happen, like, in future, you just open the tool and then you're just going to see, like, you want to plan for your next year.
Yeah.
You are doing a budget plan, right, for your company, and then it will give you all the data points based on your historic performances. Like, in March or in Feb, you have the Valentine's Day, so the sales in the past 10 years have been like this. So it's going to be, we are expecting it next year to be to a certain point. So it's going to become more automated. But I feel that marketing also requires creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity cannot be replaced by AI. It's always something which human brain is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And and even on creativity side, you can just give command to AI, like, I want something like this, but that command has to come from human. Like, it cannot be automated. I think creativity is something which cannot be automated.
That's interesting, right? So I think the other fear that I have is AI is going to eliminate a lot of junior positions.
Right.
So, like, for example, I mean, I never really got a chance to do a lot of like junior level work when I initially joined. Like, because I joined a startup, I was employee number 3. I just had to like learn a whole bunch of stuff very quickly. And I didn't get a chance to like actually like make my bones the way that like generally people joining larger organizations are able to do. But there's pluses and minuses in that environment. You learn obviously a lot faster, you become a lot more capable, but then also you end up sometimes missing a lot of those key skills. The juniors that have joined my organization, especially in like consultancies, in agencies, things like that, a lot of junior level work is making meeting notes, creating spreadsheets, and like you said, analyzing data. It's the work which obviously as you progress through your career you will find more and more boring, but if you have done that work to start with, it will help your career to no extent when you are growing, because you've already got the basics perfect. You've got you have an understanding from attending like 100 meetings, how you are supposed to be running a meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
How you're supposed to be organizing with the person who is making notes in mind.
Right.
Creating an agenda, things. So if that is automated.
Right.
And there's 2 aspects to this, right, which I find quite interesting. My boss and I, we talk about this a lot. She's obviously from a slightly older generation. She's from my mom's generation. I'm a millennial, and we're working a lot with like Gen Z people, and there is and I don't know if this is like what the source of this is, and I don't know if you guys have dealt with Gen Z people in your career.
That's a different topic to
Gen Z.
discuss.
I guess you're kind of Gen Z.
I think I'm in the mix, right?
Yeah, you're
He's in the mix, yeah.
You're somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
But what I find a lot with working with younger people is there's a tendency for them to not have the same level of enthusiasm that I knew I had when I was growing up in business. Like I was, I wanted to attend every single meeting. I wanted to be involved in every single process.
Yes.
I would go and ask for more and more work, because I wanted to learn. I had that enthusiasm in me.
Yeah.
That enthusiasm is dying for some reason. They're like, okay, if you give me work, I'll do it. No, it's fine.
I agree with you. Even I'm seeing the same thing at my workplace. People who are younger, and especially those people who are born after 2000, I would say.
And I'm not. This is not. Yeah. It's not a rule of thumb or anything like that. Like my sister, she's born in 2001, and she's one of the hardest workers that I know. And she's also very curious, and she's quite ambitious. But she's the one person that I know who's this way.
Yeah.
Everybody else that I've interacted with have all the same lack of enthusiasm, lack of ambition. They're like, I'll leave at 5 o'clock. Yeah. I don't want any more work.
I think I've noticed that too, because when I had an intern working under me in the same agency when we were all working together, it's like he wouldn't go out of his way to work. And when I joined or when my other colleague joined, we would always be on top of everything. If we had to work overtime, we would do it. Not because someone's asking us to, but we know what's important to do, or it's the right thing to do. But something you do notice from all the new generation is that for them it's more like I'm being paid to be here for certain hours. I don't want to extend my services after that. I don't want to put that much effort, which is not that important to me. I was discussing with someone, one of my friend's sister, and she was like, tell me this, if it's not beneficial for my health or it's not benefiting me in any way, why should I put that much work into it? And I could read a book, do something of my own, research something, and I'll be living a much happier life than you all are, because I'm not stressed. Okay, you give me work, I'll give you quality work, but if you're not going to give me work, that's on you, because you don't know how to manage it, because you're always I'll take on stuff myself. And that's when I recently joined a different company, shifted fields into brand management. I tried doing that approach, and I was like, you know what, you give me work, I'll do it, or whatever is my task, I'll do it great. And that really helped me time manage properly, because instead of worrying about different things or going out of my way of doing someone else's task, here and there that quality is always there. You know what, I have to go above and beyond, but I'm trying to control that, and I'm seeing a lot of changes in my lifestyle. Okay, you know what, I'm not going to stress about it over the weekends. It's done, it's dusted. I'll see it's a Monday issue now. Because when I see my other colleagues who are older than me, in their mid-30s, they will call me in the weekend, hey, no, this wasn't done, you have to do this, or you have to do this next week. Even if it's a next week problem, they're so stressing out about it. And I can see the difference. For them, everything's revolving around that workspace. But for me, it's more no, I have other things. Once I'm out on the last day of the week, I have to focus on other things. So I think that change for them, what change they're bringing, is more much more healthy, I guess.
So, there's two things there, right? So we were working obviously in an organization that is an agency, and agency life is agency life.
Yeah.
It is intense.
Yeah.
It's we never have enough people to do the work.
Sure.
You always have to work extra time. And the previous company that we were all working in, they were, at least in the beginning, they were very good at giving us that sense of ownership that, you are, it's not like you're just an employee here, you're also a co-owner of this company. Yeah. And, whatever you do reflects us, and it affects us all. But there has to be a balance there, which we have to strike. So in my new company, they're all mothers mostly that I'm working with, or I can't say parents because literally they're all moms.
Yeah.
Our CEO is not married, or he doesn't have kids, and there's only one other guy that's there in the organization, and so they all recognize the importance of having a strong work-life balance.
Yeah.
So after 5 o'clock, I will rarely get a phone call. I will rarely get an email. Or on the weekends, I'm rarely disturbed, and I rarely disturb them. But the expectation though is within the hours that you are supposed to be working, you have to be giving your 100%, 110%, whatever it is that you're giving. And I'm not going to say that there aren't days where I will work a couple of extra hours, or like a weekend where I ended up doing like some work or something like that. All of those things I really don't mind. And I don't think those two things are opposed to each other. Having work-life balance and also being enthusiastic about your work. Also being like asking for more work. Because in fact, if you have a good work-life balance, then you'll know what your capacity is.
Yeah.
What your true capacity is.
That's true.
It's not what capacity you assume yourself to have. Because the only way that you will know your true capacity is by pushing yourself. Is by like saying that, oh, you know what, I have to take on this extra project so that I can see whether I actually have the mental and the physical capacity to do this additional work.
Mm-hmm.
And that like feeling of wanting to be at capacity is something that we need to really encourage in like our junior staff, or like make them more curious, or like make them, because it's not about the work that you're doing right now. It's about your future.
Exactly.
It's the amount of time that you're putting in right now is an investment in your future careers. It is preparing you for taking on more and more responsibility over time, because ultimately that's what you want to do. Like, you want to take on more responsibility as you grow older. You want to make more money. The only way that anybody's going to give you more money is by showing that you are capable and you're like worth that money.
Do you think, like, I mean, obviously for all of us, we always go the extra mile. Okay, like even things which we shouldn't be doing, we do it because we want to learn. But do you think the new generation, the reason they don't want to do it is because when they see their parents coming home at like 10 p.m., 9 p.m., like, because majority of like younger generation, I've worked with the Egyptians, Indians, Pakistanis. So for them, it's one of their things like, I don't want to end up like my parents. Okay. So do you think it's that effect the reason why they're not pushing themselves? Because they don't want to end up like, oh, there's no life? Or do you think it's just the general thing which is there in this generation?
I think that definitely has an impact on it, for sure. But I think more than that though, maybe it's just they're struggling a little bit to see how one leads to the other. I think I have the benefit of looking back in hindsight, I can see how the work that I did when I was younger led up to me being in the position that I'm in right now. And I think that's the, like, if somebody came and asked me as a junior person, if they came and asked me for advice, and I would tell them that yes, it's important for you to make sure that you are maintaining that work-life balance. You have to make sure that you create enough time for yourself to upskill yourself, to learn more, to spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, because you never know how that equation is going to change over time. Like, life is short. But at the same time, what I would tell them is always say yes to like anything and everything that comes to you at work. When I joined our previous organization, I took the initiative to go and get involved in like the culture stuff in the company. I saw a gap that existed, which I desperately wanted. Like, I wanted to be part of an organization that cared about culture, that cared about like, for me personally, I've always thought, you spend a third of your life at work. There's no reason why you can't make it fun. There's no reason why it shouldn't be fun. And it is your responsibility, as well as like anybody else's responsibility in the organization, to make sure that you're making it fun. And I would go and I would go and ask our CEO, I'd ask like our operations person, can I do this? Is it, and it would be, I would always make sure that I'm doing those things within my work hours. It's not like I'm spending extra time after work sitting and like making, so I used to like do quizzes and stuff at work. I wasn't doing any of those things outside of my work hours. I was doing it all within my work hours, and I would find time, like I'd skip lunch or whatever. Because work-life balance has always been important to me. And it might be from what you were saying. I've seen my mom She would leave work she would leave home at 6 o'clock after giving us all breakfast.
Yeah.
Come back at like 8, and she'd clean everything, she'd cook more, and then go to sleep. She'd probably get like 5 hours of sleep or something, and then we start the whole day again. And that's the sort of, and I knew for a fact that is not the environment that I want to expose my children to, or like where I wanted to as a person. So starting from that point though, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't also go and ask for those opportunities.
Yeah. Right.
And what happened as a result of this, that is, as I spend more time doing that, I realized that I have a passion for that kind of work, and that is the thing that I'm more interested in than the work that I was doing. I had a whole host of things that I was doing at the previous company. I was in digital marketing, and then I went to knowledge management, and then I went to product management, and I loved all of those things. So all of those things individually taught me a whole bunch of skills which I'm still using till date. But me doing all those extra things made me realize that actually this is something which I'm good at. This is something that I want to do. So when an opportunity came knocking that would let me do this as a full-time job, I was A, prepared for it, and B, I knew that I had the skill that I can utilize. And once I got there, it's not like it was all peachy. Like it wasn't like I got it like the first day. I'm still learning. And there's still so many places where I have to like go and plug those gaps, but that's the process, and that's what makes it fun for me. So that's the thing, right? Like, just always say yes. If you find a gap, don't ask questions about like, somebody else is going to fill it.
Yeah.
See if there's a way in which you can fill that gap. Even if you're the junior most employee in like PwC, which is like massive organization, there's no reason why you can't make a difference if there is that passion inside you.
Yeah.
So the conclusion is, as long as you're enjoying it, it doesn't matter like how much time you're spending on it. It can take you maybe 10 hours or 12 hours, but you're enjoying it.
100%.
Yes, you have to enjoy it, and be responsible.
And that's the most important thing, man. Like, people ask me, how do I find something which I can be passionate about? Like, I don't really have a thing which I want to do in life.
Yeah.
You can't just enjoy the outcome. You have to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
So if, like, for me, for example, when I'm writing like analysis reports, or when I'm trying to figure out how a company can organize their intranet, or when I'm trying to figure out how best to communicate a particular campaign to the employees, I enjoy every single moment of that process.
Right.
Like, it's not there are boring parts. It's not like I don't get bored, but even in between that boredom, there is a little bit of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So you have to try and find something which you enjoy, like even the boring parts, and then you know that you have something that you're most passionate about.
Before we move on to the next topic, so to all the younger graduates, if you don't want to be replaced by AIs, give you 100%, ask for more work. This message is endorsed by Vishall and Shree. So if that doesn't work, you know where to find them on LinkedIn. So anyways, just moving on. You talk about going to different places at work. Tell me, besides work, which countries have you visited? Which is your favorite place? Why is it your favorite place? Which is your worst place that you've ever visited?
The worst place that I've ever gone.
Best and worst, both.
Oh, worst is let me think about the worst one. Because honestly, man, like I love traveling.
Yeah.
And like I can't say that any particular place that I've been to has been like really, really bad.
Yeah.
Maybe like so a place which did not live up to my expectations was probably like Azerbaijan or something.
Okay.
Not because it was a bad country or anything like that. It was pretty much the same. Like I felt like it was just Dubai in slightly repackaged.
Okay.
I don't know. I think you went to Azerbaijan recently.
Yes, I liked it because I have not been to countries that you have been to. So for me, Azerbaijan is the starting point. So I was like,
of the countries that I've been to, like, so I was expecting that, like, so when I was growing up, I was going to go to Japan. And, like, it was a big dream of mine to go to Japan. I ended up going to Japan. I love Japan. Japan is fantastic. One of the best countries that I've been to.
Yeah.
Complete cultural experience. You can't, like, nobody can prepare you for the kind of people that you interact with. the kind of safety that you feel there, because people just leave you alone. It's just the oddest thing, like if you're traveling around in the metro here, for example, you know that people are always like looking at you, and they're like staring at you. But in Japan, people are like obsessed with their phones. They just look down, they don't look up. Like you can be dressed in the most like, and I saw people dressed in like the weirdest like costumes. Not a single glance. It's like, I'm on the metro in Tokyo. What's up? Other like funny thing about Japan is, no joke, they have the best bathrooms. No joke. And this is not. I'm not talking about in people's houses.
Okay.
In train stations, bars, they're spotless.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like tech enabled. Every single bathroom in the country. So like all of them have those like sprays and stuff, and they play music, and like all the seats are warmed. It's a fantastic experience. But above Japan though, like the country that I enjoyed the most going to is Spain. I quite randomly ended up going to Spain. It was just like I wanted to go on one of these like Conti-Keys. And Conti is a great way to explore Spain because they take you to like 11 cities in the span of like 17 days.
Okay.
And it's a great way to see Spain, because what I really love about Spain is it's a whole bunch of different cultures in one geographical space.
Yeah.
Because they've sort of all grown up hating each other, and they've developed cultures which are quite different from each other. They all sort of speak Spanish.
Grown up hating each other.
Yeah, like they're like India, man, you know. So we have like 500 princely states when the British left, right?
Yes. It's okay. It's like okay.
There were different rulers and like different like individual pockets of countries.
So like the Catalonia on one side and the normal Spaniards and
exactly, and the Basque region, they don't even speak Spanish, and it's a completely different language. So there's nothing to do with Spanish or any of the other like romantic languages around. And you go from like place to place, everybody has different food. All cities that you go to has a different way of making sangria.
Okay.
All cities that you go to have different like preparations of like the basics. When you see, for example, you go to a Spanish restaurant here, they'll give you like paella, but paella is like very specifically from Valencia, and it's a Valencian dish, and you don't really find it anywhere else. Or even if you do, it's not as good, obviously, as Valencia. So as a like quick cultural experience, and you get to experience so much in so little time, I think Spain is like the best opportunity for you to do that.
Cool. So speaking of Spain, it's a football playing nation.
Yeah.
There's a football question to you, which I asked our first guest, and you went on a rant about why Messi is not the best player in the world.
Okay.
Who do you think is the best player in the world right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
And of all time. Give me both.
Huh?
Give me both, of all time and right now.
So...
Please do not diss any countries.
Huh?
Please do not diss any countries.
No countries, no dissing, no teams, nothing. I think the most effective player, like the player that I enjoy watching the most of the current generation of players, is probably Mbappe.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast, he can score a lot of goals, he's got a lot of flair. Little bit of a drama queen, but you know, that level, I think it's just drama just comes automatically. I don't know if he's the best player currently playing. That's a very like tough question to answer. Of all time, again, it's a very tough question. I grew up watching Ronaldo play, and I still have a lot of love for Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I think he might be the most effective player that I've ever seen. Like at least in the middle period of his career, you could go into a final with Ronaldo in your team, and you know that like he's gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
He's gonna show up. He's gonna like find a way to do things.
Which Ronaldo? Cristiano
Ronaldo. Yeah. But I haven't gotten as much joy from watching Ronaldo play as I have from watching Messi play.
Okay.
I think from like a pure technique perspective, from the pure beauty that you get from watching the game, it's very difficult to beat Messi. And like literally quite difficult to like beat Messi on the pitch, but also like visually as an artist, pure talent, it has to be Messi. And I mean, okay, now he's going and playing in like Inter Miami. He's like scoring goals for fun. Even when he's scoring goals for fun, it's still fun to watch. You know, it's not like he's showing up and like is just like terrible defending and he's kicking the ball in. So I mean, if you ask me personally, who the greatest is in terms of winningness, it's probably Ronaldo. But in terms of who I would want to watch, like who, like if you ask me today, you know, like whose clips I'm going to be showing kids maybe like 10, 20 years from now, it's probably going to be Messi. I mean, very difficult for me to know. Messi, Beckham. I enjoy watching, like, it was before my time obviously, but I enjoy watching like Cantona. I'm incredibly biased. I was a United fan growing up. I'm still a United fan. But yeah, like these kind of people who have flair, who have like beauty in the way that they play, creating those unexpected moments. I think it has to be Messi.
It has to be Messi. So Messi is.
Yeah. Okay.
So Ronaldo won, Messi won on this podcast.
Well, Syed who said it was Ronaldo. But I mean, Syed is incredibly biased.
I mean, I think one of the things I've seen, whether even like football, is like Haaland and Mbappe, I think normal people I've met, for them, they love Ronaldo. And for them, and I think the reason they say that is because Ronaldo was just a normal kid coming from poor background, and he worked his ass off to be where he is. Like he's becoming an inspiration to like millions of people. But when you look at Messi, it's more like he's an alien. He's just gifted with that ability which no one can achieve. And that's the reason why people look at Ronaldo, because they're like, oh, he made it, so can I. Whether it's football or even at your workplace, you know, like a lot of people, and you ask them who's your inspiration, they'll be like Ronaldo. Why? Because, you know, he worked for that position, and he gave them that winning mentality, and everyone would be like, you know what, I can be like that guy in my place or in this sport or, you know, workplace. I think that's why there's a lot of bias towards Ronaldo, because you're more relatable to Ronaldo compared to Messi. Obviously, he won the World Cup, and a lot of people will be like, you know what, that cements it. But
see, I don't think that there's any lack of mentality in Messi. I definitely don't think he works half as hard as Ronaldo, for sure. But you're right, like Ronaldo is a lot more inspirational. I think it's a path that people can follow. But it's a question of like your enjoyment. Like it's just like we have these singers in South India. It's a very like odd example, but there are these singers in South India who are on stage, and you know they're technically fantastic. Like they're technically perfect. Not a single note will be missed. Like they'll hit all the like whatever variations that they need to hit. But they are incredibly difficult to watch. I'm not saying Ronaldo is difficult to watch. He's not. That's not the point I'm trying to make. But like technically difficult to watch, but they're perfect, and they're working hard to get to the places that they are. But then there are those like singers who are naturally gifted, who are like who make it look effortless. And that's the thing about like watching Messi play. It just makes it look effortless. He does things which like you could train yourself. Like if you train as hard as Ronaldo, you could probably achieve the things that Ronaldo has done. And not saying there's no talent there, but you know, to a certain extent, like you can train yourself to become as good as Ronaldo. But how much ever hard you train, I don't think that you will be able to do what Messi does.
Of course, everything.
It's just pure like intelligence. Pure like.
He was God gifted. He was born with it.
Exactly.
He was born with it. He was born with it, and Ronaldo made it. Like he changed his destiny. Maybe like what I understand from your conversation. I'm not a football fan, but that's how I understand.
And it's also like, you know, sometimes having talent is actually a bad thing because it'll make you lazy. It'll make you just depend on the talent. And like 9 times out of 10, a person who works hard is going to beat a person with talent. Because they've had to work to get to the place that they've got.
Right.
Which probably means that it's not that Messi didn't work hard. He worked hard. Like he had to work less hard than Ronaldo because he's naturally gifted. But he still had to make sure that he maintains that mentality. Trust me, no one wins the World Cup
first
unless you have that mentality. It's like I think 12 countries in the world or something have won the World Cup. I don't know the exact number, but like it's a very small number. So
I guess like giving when you have the mentality, you also have to spread that mentality around your team.
Yeah,
I think that's what he did because he's been trying it for a while now. It's his 3rd World Cup, I think, or 4th.
No, who Messi?
Yeah,
I think it's his 5th World Cup.
Yeah,
because he started when he was like 18.
Yeah. So and finally achieving that towards the later stage, and that also shows like the maturity played a huge role considering how young the team was. So. Good. So Messi won, Ronaldo won.
I mean, I don't think the debate is. I think the debate is over now anyway.
Yeah.
Like both of them are like in the final stages of their career.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's a cliche, but we probably should be grateful for the fact that we had these two people to watch for so long.
Of course.
Who do the young generation have to watch? I don't know. Like I said, Neymar, Mbappe is great.
Yeah.
But he also disappears a lot. And he's playing in like Liga.
Yeah.
And most likely, maybe next year he'll go and play at Real, but like, it's still not the same.
I agree.
It's still not like I don't find a player that I will show up for every single week to just watch magic happen. Like that just doesn't exist anymore. It's a lot more team based. It's a lot more like managers are becoming bigger stars now. It's good.
I mean, we'll tell our kids about stories of how great Ronaldo, Messi, Lingard were. So speaking of inspiration, Shree, who is your biggest inspiration?
So I think my greatest inspiration is always going to be my mom.
Yeah.
She's had to go through a lot to raise us, and she came from a pretty like small town in Kerala, regular education, and she ended up going into like a profession which she had no idea about, which nobody can train you for.
Yeah.
And she grew there, she started her own business, and during that time she raised me and my sister. And a lot of that she had to do all by herself. And till date, I can see the level of passion, level of dedication that she brings to her job, which I'm not even sure I bring to my job. And I think she has always been quite inspirational to me in that way.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, were you expecting like Phil Knight or something?
No.
I wanted a genuine answer. You got that.
Because the previous person said Ronaldo, so...
Oh, okay. Bob told you Ronaldo.
No, I just said we are not going to take names in this podcast.
Shall you want to ask them three before we wrap it up?
No, I don't have any specific questions. But can you upsell or can you recommend us to your mom, because we would like to have her on our podcast as well.
I think.
What do you think? Did we do a good job, Shree?
Yeah.
Being a veteran for now, you'll come back maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know. But do you think?
Are you calling me a veteran podcaster? I don't know. Making like 9 episodes of a podcast makes me a veteran podcaster. I just like to okay. That's the other thing, right? Like,
yeah.
I feel like not enough people are trying stuff.
Yeah.
Just like go try stuff, man. Just like if you have an interest in something, go do it. Like there are like very little barriers now. You guys are like recording on like iPhones, and you have like.
You don't have to say that.
I'm just saying. Like, no, it's inspirational for other people. You should.
Yes.
You don't need like Sony Vegas Pro or like Canon cameras to. Also, Canon's my favorite client, so dropping them. Like Canon cameras to like get started.
Mm-hmm.
You just sort of like go do stuff, and I admire that you are doing it, and I think I had a lot of fun in this entire process. talking to you guys.
No, I'm learning a lot. It's the first time for me. Zian, he has done it before for me because I can see Prateek's heart stop whenever I start speaking. Like, what is he going to speak now, and what do I have to cut again? Like,
So, I think more than the iPhone and stuff, I think the credit goes to our producer here.
Yeah.
Who is extremely, strict about what we say.
I'm still not gonna host.
But
I think that's actually good insight. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and you can feel the difference when there is a person who is responsible for producing versus when there's just that individual person who's doing it. Firstly, it's a lot of work,
of course,
but also it's just distribution of responsibilities, sort of, or like focusing on things which you're good at, and improving on the skills that you aren't yet. And in most of those podcasts, the producer always like chimes in and says stuff, which is nice. Prateek, you should continue doing that. And I mean, hopefully, like you don't need to be on screen to make the most impact. It's for sure the case.
Right. So before we sign off on the Karak Chat Podcast, Shree, just one important question which I've been asking all our guests. How would you define success?
That's a tough one, huh?
Coming here doesn't count.
Yeah, man, I made it. I've been a podcast guest on 2 podcasts now, which is great.
wow, nice.
I'm living the life. The first one was Paris's podcast.
Oh, Paris also does a podcast.
Yeah, it was a nice podcast. It was a fun
We need
little
to track
discussion.
how much competition do we have?
We're better. Anyways.
I'm not going to say anything about which one was a better experience. That's not a question I'm willing to answer. But okay, like success, I think in today's world, we are asked to be ambitious a lot. Like if you open up your Instagram, you'll see like all of these people who are like, you gotta have $25 million by the time you're 30, or you failed in life, or you have to read these 1,000 books, or you're not going to succeed, or this or that, whatever. Every person has a different definition of that success. I think the most important thing for me is the people whose lives I'm affecting.
Yeah.
If I can get up every single day and I know that my family is like reasonably happy with how much time I'm giving them, my work is reasonably happy with the amount of time that I'm giving it, the people that I'm working for, their employees are having, because I'm in employee experiences, that's specifically my field. If their employees are like have a 1% better day because of our presence, if I'm learning every single day, and if I'm making time for the things which make me happy, I think I'm successful. I'm not going to define it on the basis of money or positions or number of friends that I have or anything like that. It's just a question of, am I making an impact in the world? I think yes, and that's all that matters, whether you think you're making an impact. And I'm learning every single day, and I'm able to spend time with my family and friends. These 3 things are there, and I have a successful life. I'm happy.
That's a good answer.
Wow.
You're getting emotional there. Well, Shree, thank you so much for coming.
Anytime.
It was a great episode, I believe.
Yes.
Great insights, and I hope we have you again soon.
Anytime you guys want.
And are you going to start podcasting?
Guys, it's tough, right? Like it's a question of like what I want to do podcasts about. The previous one was a lot of work, honestly. I kind of want to do something a little bit more chill like this, but not necessarily about like maybe about like films or books or something. Just stuff which I want to talk about.
Films, books is a good. I think it's a good topic to discuss.
I think so, and I want it to be as little work from me as possible, because like that's the other thing about me is like I'm fairly lazy, and I want to find ways to like make sure that I continue being lazy, but like highest quality but least amount of effort. Like that's the
No wonder you chose Messi.
Exactly.
He wants to be an artist.
You're right. I'm an artist.
Right.
Yes.
He's an artist.
Well, thank you so much, Shree, once again. And
Anytime, man.
all right, guys.